Hey, I'm Nate Flax.
I'm Noah Longworth McGuire.
And this is Talking Lion.
Talking Lion is a podcast focused on artist-to-artist conversation.
We're primarily artists, a duo called Sleeping Lion, but we've been lucky enough to write, produce, and hang out with so many incredible rising artists since we started our project.
Whether it's at sessions or parties or over cups of coffee, we've talked with our creative friends about everything. Music, life, love, and all the subtle complexities that come with being in the middle of a journey.
Talking Lion is about hitting record on these conversations and sharing them with you. There's no real structure, nothing really prepared, just friends talking about life and what it's been like and where it's going.
We now have a Patreon for fans of our show to help keep this going. Subscribers will become a part of the show in various ways, from providing questions to our guests, to getting a shout out on the show, to actually being on the show to chat with us. We'll even send you a mug.
So check out our Patreon at patreon.com/talkinglion.
We recorded this episode with our good friends Fiji Blue.
We went to Berklee College of Music with Trevor and Val and remained friends with them when they moved to Los Angeles and formed Fiji Blue.
Some context for this interview. We recorded this remotely following the release of their single Butterflies.
The last time we all hung out was actually at their New Year's party on the eve of 2020. An insanely talented duo, Fiji Blue has made waves with their smooth, uncompromising sound. So,
without further ado,
we're Fiji Blue.
And this is Talking Lion.
well, hey.
Hello.
Hello.
What's up, Nate and Noah?
How's it going?
Hey, what's up, Trevor and Val?
Trevor and Val.
Look at these two
Val and
duos
Trevor.
just talking.
Just a duo of duos.
Not just duos, but roommate duos.
No, we're not roommates.
No.
Not yet.
You're
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm
not
here
yet,
like
but-
every day, and I basically should pay rent, but I mean...
He is considered to be the
Yeah.
fifth roommate of the house.
That's fair. Well, hey, we're a duo of duos, which I definitely appreciate.
A duo of duos, yeah.
No,
Sounds
but
like fun.
we also go back. We are classmates.
Yeah.
We are
That is a fact.
we are Berklee College of classmates. So that's
September it'll be 6 years that we know each other.
holy
Yep.
At least you and me met in like first semester, like early on.
Yeah.
Well, and
I don't know about Noah.
I vaguely remember, Val, like you and I even talking on like the Facebook forum before coming to school about like maybe being roommates. Like,
Really?
Berkeley forums.
Bro, you should
go
pull up
Steve.
that message. I don't even remember that.
dude, that'd be like
sleep
that would
with
be
a teddy bear
wild.
That was probably around, let's say that was probably around this time, like beginning of the summer.
Probably around this time. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
just like fair warning. Like I grind my teeth pretty bad in my sleep. Like,
I speak demonic things when I go to bed.
yeah. I'm just like, yeah, no. But that's the thing. Yeah, I think you wound up your first year. You were with Jonathan, right?
I was with Jonathan. Dude, crazy thing was, I don't know if you came to our New Year's party, but I came this year. This year we had the New Year's party, and he showed up just randomly. Like I didn't even know.
Oh, damn.
I didn't invite him or anything, and all of a sudden he was just in my house, and I was like, dude, like I haven't seen you in like 5 years since we shared a room together.
That was the first time I saw him in a minute too. He's been playing drums for Vespera, like for that rock for the rock band. Also, your New Year's party was like really fun. I was having like just a terrible like New Year's experience, and like in general, and then coming to your place, it definitely like boosted my spirits. The
that's
drinks
good.
were very good.
Yeah, dude, I had the mulled wine specially made. But okay,
mulled
this is it's like a special wine
like
from
hot
Germany.
wine.
Yeah, hot
Okay,
wine.
I was like, that doesn't
with
sound great
cinnamon
at
and
all.
oranges and cloves, I think. Super dope. But
It
the
was so
sad
good.
part,
I got very drunk.
The sad part about that party was we still have it. Remember when we had this huge wall up and we called it the vision board, 2020 vision board, and everybody put their goals for this year, what they want to do, what they want to accomplish. And it's still
all like,
hanging in the
I wanna
house, and you
tour,
look
I
at
wanna
this, and you're like,
travel. Exactly.
dude, like everybody wanted to travel and like
I
move
think
out.
Fiji
and, like,
tour was written 3 times on that.
I definitely I wrote on there. I wrote like travel to London, like play bigger shows.
Not sit
like
in
all
my
that.
bedroom every day.
yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
looking
God.
at it. Nobody wrote COVID.
No.
I just want to know who fucked up. Like Like who?
Listen, we historically know who fucked up. Like
No,
you know,
I know. I mean,
this could turn into a political show real quick.
No, I don't.
Like,
I don't mean that
No,
politically.
good
I
vibes,
mean,
good
who
vibes.
made a bad deal with a witch to
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah.
to like
Oh my
put us where we are right now?
No, when the new year comes around, nobody's allowed to be like, "This is my year." Like
Not
nobody's
a
allowed to
single
have.
person.
Nobody's not
Never.
allowed to have resolutions or
Never
dreams
saying
anymore.
this.
Like,
That sentence.
No one's
again.
allowed to say this is my year. It is no one's year. Wait and see.
yeah, no,
There's
yeah.
been some good things come out of it. As messed up as everything is, there's,
To be honest,
Yeah.
for us personally, we're in the midst of everything. Pretty grateful about. I feel like the timing worked out for us well because we still March 4th we had our Fiji show at Madame CM. You know, it was still ultra packed, which we were happy about, and now it's like scary to think about that. But
someone caught the Fiji flu there for
yeah,
sure.
we.
Oh god, the Fiji blue flu.
Yeah, no, it's the nice way of saying COVID. But
Yeah, well, I remember like just like going out for drinks, right before this started, and a friend of ours who was going on tour was like, "Do you think this is gonna be like a bad thing?" And we're like, "Oh no, it's probably not gonna be too bad." But I definitely feel it. There's something to be said about like kind of being a duo in this thing because one, I feel like Noah and I are never like necessarily bored because we're bored.
Yeah.
Like as anybody
Existentially.
is. As anybody, existentially bored. But at least like we can always work on stuff. And the podcast stuff, like, yeah, it's like
unfortunately, like there's a lot of things that we're not in control of. But the only thing we can be in control of is just like all the good stuff that can come out of it. Just you just gotta try every day at this point to just.
We can be grateful that we have like a homie, that we've been making music with for a while, and like that we can get through this together. Like I remember when it first started, we were working every day, and then I was at his house and we were both like panicking, not knowing what was gonna happen, like being in this like weird mindset, but at least we weren't alone, or stuck in an apartment alone somewhere in like New York or whatever. So
well, yeah, and that's the thing too, is like at least like I didn't have to go to New York, or at least like no, I didn't have to go to Rome. Like at least we can, still. And you said something interesting, Trevor, which is like focusing on the things you can control. And I feel like for me, I've always needed to have some like level of control over what's sort of going around me. And like obviously with COVID, you lose all of that. Like we all thought, at the beginning of the year that there was a plan for this year, that we all had plans and we all had like whatever, but you can't control how the world's gonna change, but you definitely can control what you're doing.
For sure.
And I feel like I like
life is
it's easier.
crazy
It's easier when you share that with somebody. You know?
yeah, that's a beautiful lesson. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but to be honest, for me, it was also kind of like, okay, maybe everything is slowing down a bit. Maybe we don't have to do 5 sessions with 5 different people a week. You know what I mean? And just honing in on like. Now we're just working on Fiji Blue every day, making music, and like
you have to work with me every day because our circle has to stay
now
small.
I have to work with Trevor, and
we only
let's
have
see how
15 songs this week. No, that's not good enough.
No, but
Well, and that's the thing too, is like it occurred to me just like the things like now we get to work on the things that we like enjoy, or the things that like we claimed we didn't have enough time for, that if we suddenly magically had time for, we would do. And now here it is. So there's definitely something to be said about that, and I'm glad that you guys have found. I was sure you guys would find like that stride. Like if anybody's gonna do it, it's you guys. But it's been a somewhat peaceful experience despite it being like a global pandemic.
Yeah.
I agree.
I wanna rewind a little bit. And I know bits and pieces about like you guys' childhoods, etc. But like from are you dying? Are you okay?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Val's good. Yeah.
I'm good.
All this talk
No, I'm
about COVID,
better.
he starts coughing.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, bro. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, he's allergic to the sappiness. I gotta make sure. I gotta make sure to not get too saccharine about it.
Exactly.
No, where are you both from? Like, and what was growing up in your specific communities like with respect to music, but also just respect to like being a person and growing up and whatnot.
Want me to take this, Val? Very opposite of Val's experience, but we'll get to that. But I grew up in Arizona, Scottsdale specifically, and I was actually like the whole other side of music beside my life was hockey. Like I played hockey for my entire of like adolescence. I don't know, from 3 basically until I had to pick between hockey college or music college. So
So you like went.
I was okay. I don't know. Towards the end of it, I was just doing it for the fun of it. But yeah, I was huge. In hockey in Arizona, people are like, they have ice there? But no, definitely huge there.
I was gonna say that, and then I stopped myself.
I know, it's so common, I've heard. But yeah.
Well, it's like the Stanley Cup or Grammy. It's just like, what are you going to drink out of,
Exactly. I mean, yeah.
You could be the first person to do both.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, hopefully, yeah, the hockey thing's not going to happen. But I can dream about the Grammy. That's nice. But anyways,
there's EGOTs and then there's CGOTs, there's Stanley Cup, Emmy, Grammy, Tony, Oscar.
God. Both awards that I would just feel very happy about having. But yeah, so I always played music. I actually started playing guitar because a guitar hero, super cliche. I think that's how Post Malone
we were just talking about that yesterday.
Talking about that. We were just talking about how like so many people kind of got into music because of
Guitar Hero.
It's
It's crazy. So many people.
I was like, the 12-year-olds around me, like watching it, like, oh, this is sick. And I was like, what if this guitar was real on expert and stuff? But yeah, like Pride and Joy, Stevie Ray Vaughan, that like drew me into guitar, especially blues. And then obviously on a cruise ship when I was lonely and 15, my mom showed me John Mayer. And then I fell in love. I fell in love with John Mayer. Fast forward, oh my God, he went to Berkeley. I love music.
What was the first song that you heard by John Mayer ever?
Ooh, easy. That is In Your Atmosphere. Which was,
so great.
Yeah, that hooked me. So the love for songwriting and stuff fell in there, attached with some pretty emotional teenage feelings. Out came My Mind, and I went with the songwriting route and ended up in Berkeley, and that's kind of where Val and I ended up crossing paths. But I can let him tell his story up until then. Feel like a romantic comedy, yeah. I stumbled in the hallway one day, and
when Trevor met Valentine.
When Trevor.
That sounds like a great rom-com title.
Yeah, Valentine's Day or Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I feel like this story how we met is not spectacular at all. But
during Valentine? I don't know.
No, it wasn't cool.
We
can get
fine.
to that.
Yeah.
It's iconic.
No, but yeah, I obviously I was born and raised in Germany, Stuttgart, Germany, like a medium-sized town, maybe like 500,000 people, till I was 15. And for me, I mean,
I love that you say that a medium town is like 500,000 people, because like my hometown had like 10,000 people.
It was pretty small.
You're right. It was a city, like I grew up always like as a city like kid, you know what I mean? Like I was just like, I always, till this day, always lived in big cities. So born and raised there. Honestly, such a great childhood, like my parents were super chill and the city was cool. I had great friends, you know what I mean? I was playing soccer like a good German boy. But for me, I mean, music was always, it's crazy. Like I think about it now and I feel like there was never a period in my life where I didn't make music and where I didn't know that music was going to be like my life. Like literally when I started playing drums when I was 5, had a very, very influential teacher, Marcus. He actually emailed me on my birthday 2 weeks ago. And I hadn't talked to him in like 10 years, maybe longer.
Oh, wow.
So it was super beautiful to get that email. But he was such an influential person in my life, maybe the most influential person after my parents, because he taught me how to play drums in the beginning, but then he also started exposing me to like playing guitar. Like he also had a little studio. He bought me my first recording equipment when I was like 13. So it's like,
nice.
Oh, wow.
He showed me, like he came to my house, he installed everything. He showed me how to do the software. Like he would drive me home, like when my parents couldn't, like he was just like a very like,
wow.
We just had a really close relationship.
What's his name?
Marcus.
Shout him out. Yeah, Marcus.
Yeah, shout out Marcus.
Shout out Marcus.
Hopefully you hear this.
Marcus.
And you know what? I still haven't responded to the email because I want to take like my time and I want to tell him that because I don't think I've ever told him that. And if a teacher, hears that, how much influence they had on a person's life and like that I ended up being a musician, you know what I mean? Like that's.
Well,
yeah.
And I don't want to
happy.
be. I don't want to be too like sentimental about it because I don't want to make you cough again. But like, I had a piano teacher who similarly like changed my life, and I'd always said him like, I was like, oh, I'm gonna, next time I'm in New York, or like I'll send him an email or I'll call him, like. But I was busy, and I got to see him, and I got to catch up with him like a little bit, like a couple of years ago. But he recently passed away.
Wow.
From like kidney failure, like maybe 2 years ago.
Damn.
And it was just one of those things where I'm like, oh, I really wish that like I had, had sort of that communication with him. So I say, hey, You know, now
Man, I have to get on
no
that.
time like the present, you know?
Have to get
for
on
sure.
that. I have to get on that.
Right after this podcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna write him back. I'm gonna write him back today. But yeah, so I mean, he kind of showed me the path, you know what I mean? And he kind of just like started everything for me, like musically. And then I was playing in bands. Or I was playing in a band in Germany when I was like 12. And I kind of had it's like a German name. Basically, the translation is fruit concentrate. It's really weird.
What is
Really
that in
weird
German?
name.
Just
What?
Fruchtgehalt.
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 Okay.
I mean, it sounds cool in German, but I had my homie Hannes, who I'm still really close with. Shout out Hannes. He was kind of my Trevor when I was 12. He was playing guitar. He was singing in the band. I was playing drums.
So honored, bro.
And we wrote songs and stuff. So it was cool. I had that going on in Germany. And then when I was 15, I moved to the US, moved to DC, and
did you know
East
English
Coast.
at that point, or did you learn English?
I had like a school English, you know, like 8th grade kind of level, like how you would speak French in like 8th grade. Like you know some words, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was not a particularly good
Exactly. So like I'm sitting here in the first day of high school in this huge auditorium, 1,500 freshmen. I'm here like 10th grade, not knowing what the fuck is going on. There's this presentation going on, and this guy was next to me. He was super nice, tried to talk to me, but I didn't understand a single word. So
That must have been terrible, honestly.
it was cool. Like that part of my life was such a like crazy change and like such a learning experience, because for like 1 year I was basically just alone, like the whole time. I didn't like lunch every time alone, like, and then just when I come home from school, I would just make music and just like, you know, play drums or whatever, just to like, because I didn't have any friends, because it was so hard to like communicate with anybody, you know. And then it got better, and then I decided I wanted to go to Berkeley, and then, you know, now I just love living here, honestly. So
Well,
yeah.
and it's funny and cool because like my first impression of you at school was like, this guy is effortlessly cool. Like I think to the point where like you remember, like I was a nerdy kid, but also I think I was very defensive and like very like agitated by like any coolness at all, and to the point where I'm like, who does this guy think he is? This cool
Him with his
motherfucker?
leather jackets, right? Yeah, he had the
God.
leather
Yeah.
jackets. He was just walking around, just drumming the air.
Honestly, that
Probably,
was
yeah.
actually it, yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. And forgive me for saying this, Trevor, but I was thinking back. And I'm trying to remember like the times that we sort of like crossed paths in Boston, but like I don't remember like as distinctive the times as like when Val and I would cross. If you have a memory of me in Boston, please forgive me, but did we like cross paths?
No, it's totally okay. In fact, my time in Boston is so weird because when I first got there, I was super like hiding in the shadows, depressed. I just came from ASU, knowing, and actually, I actually got declined from Berkeley the first time.
Oh,
So
wow.
I had to do a year and go to the 5-week audition again. I ended up finding I got in, but I was like a year into a fraternity at ASU, and I was like, oh my God, college, fun. But then I decided to defer and go to the next year and basically leave all my friends, the current girlfriend at the time. So when I first got to Boston, I was pretty bitter, and as time progressed, I kind of like started creeping out of the shadows. And honestly, a specific turning point for me, Noah, was in that class with Ben Camp.
Oh yeah, I was about to
Yeah.
say that's when I met you.
That's when I met
when
you,
you came
yes.
into Hot 100.
Did we all
Exactly.
have Ben Camp have you ever had Ben Camp, Nate, as a teacher?
So I never had like Ben Camp directly because I never did. By the time I got into songwriting, like after I left Berkeley, that was when Sleeping Lion was starting to like really be like a thing, and so I never had a class with Ben Camp. But because he had such an influence on,
I saw him on
Noah,
Hollywood Boulevard.
I would just like
2 months ago.
Yeah, I would like sit in on like Hot 100 classes like after I was out of school already.
Exactly,
and I've
yeah.
I've like seen him and met him a couple times.
Yeah, he was
So
actually one of my
that's-
last sessions before quarantine.
Oh, wow. That's
We-
right. He
we-
lives
we
here
wrote-
now, right?
Yeah, he lives here now. We wrote a song about very presciently about wanting something really big to happen to level everyone out.
Whoa.
Yeah, right. So it was a song about earthquakes, but it was a song
Oh,
about
God,
like
that
feeling
stresses
feeling
me out.
depressed and wanting like a natural disaster to like wipe out the city.
Damn.
I lay in
It's
bed
pretty
and
fucked
just
up to
wait for
think
that
about.
moment. It's just terrible.
I'm gonna
I
tell
hate
you
it.
something. None of this shit is random. Like I feel like
It's-
everything is connected. I mean, everybody and
Yeah.
everything that's happening. And
Val's been surfing a lot and meditating, so if he says anything really like deep, just It's good. He's in a good
Look,
place.
It's
I'm
California.
happy-
It does it to all of us eventually.
And listen, I've been getting into Malcolm Gladwell, so we're all just gonna be like insufferable by the end of it.
Amazing.
We're all morphing in good ways.
Yeah, we're all grown up. I think it's interesting though that like Trevor, you and Noah like had classes together, and then Val and I had like our own. Because I remember
Not random.
like,
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I remember like when Val and Amelia first did like Can't Let Go, we were talking about like playlisting and like because at that point we had I think both got in Show Vibes like within a week or like something of each other. It was like it was.
I think it was
we were
Chill
talking
Vibes.
about. Yeah, it was like talking about like this weird new sort of like world of because playlisting in general had just sort of started up.
That's right.
In the way that it had.
Dude, I remember that our friends didn't even know how to like get the music on Spotify. Remember, everybody was like, "Dude, how do you even like get your music on there?" Like it was
It's so
such a
easy.
new thing. Yeah, now you think it's easy, but that was like 2016.
Well, I know, but
No,
I just
yeah, there was-
remember
there
at
There
one
was like two
point.
services. There was like CD Baby and DistroKid at the time.
Yeah, I feel like people didn't know what they were doing at Berkeley when we were getting started out. I think that was the edge that we had was like we just like did a bit of research.
Dude, I didn't pay for lunch for like a month because everybody would like hit me up, take me out for like coffee, whatever, and ask about like blogs and shit.
Wow.
Like I was doing the blog stuff.
Like Submit Hub.
yeah. Pre Submit
before
Hub.
Submit Hub
Like
existed.
Submit Hub was the summer after like Can't Let Go and like all that stuff.
Yes, exactly. It was like October 2016.
Yeah.
November, December,
Yeah.
like that time. But you know what? I mean, that to me is not a positive review of Berkeley. Because that means that like all the students were like so behind with what was going on and like how to, you know what I mean? Like that should have been something that Berkeley should have been on top of and like teach everybody and like, you
Big
know.
vibe.
I've always kind of said about Berkeley that like, the actual curriculum it doesn't necessarily inspire like forward thinking, but I like everybody, like all of our friends there, what obviously set them apart was that they were always looking for the next thing. So even though the curriculum itself was not like, oh, here's like how to submit your music, here's like how blogs work, everybody at school wanted to know how like we did it or how you did it or like Annika or like anybody like everybody once somebody had like some sort of level of success and not even in like a predatory way in most cases, I think everybody just actually wanted to learn like what the new kind of music industry was looking like.
I mean, we also
Definitely.
didn't really know, you know what I mean? Like we kind of knew, you know what I mean? But like it would definitely was a new thing, which was a big advantage for us, you know? Because it was like easier to definitely get on the playlist and get exposure as like an indie artist. There just wasn't as many people doing it as now.
Yeah. Now it's like what 40,000 songs get uploaded to Spotify a day.
A day.
That's insane. I can't even imagine. Like how much does the editorial team listen? Do they listen to every song? I doubt it.
They can't.
They can't. I mean, they
can't.
physically. Yeah. It's just.
Yeah, they can't. That's right.
So it's.
That's why we need 5 weeks to pitch
to pitch everything.
to pitch the
through.
playlist, just because
my goodness.
that'll like gives them the smallest chance of actually getting to the desk of a human being.
But if you think about just like, and again, I just read Outliers, so like thinking about circumstances has been really interesting. But like, we were very lucky to be surrounded by such talented people at a time when like editorial and stuff was just starting up, and getting an education in how sessions worked. So by the time we moved out to Los Angeles, we like knew the session flow and like that part of it. Because you guys are not just like an artist project; you are individually artists, and you're also songwriters and producers.
Yeah, it's crazy. That goes back to like the initial time where Val and I first met. We did a session together for his artist project, Valentine at the time. It still exists. But the song's called Moan, very sexual. But that was after his Can't Let Go, after his song with Lexi, right? Fantasies, right?
Yeah.
And then, we did a song together. And like, honestly, the flow of that song was so easy, like start to finish. Like 30 minutes, an hour we wrote it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we wrote it really quick.
I mean, if you listen back to it, it's not the most in-depth thing, but it works for the feel of the song.
Was that the backseat of the Uber?
Yeah. I remember you
Yes,
playing
yes.
that in Hot 100.
Oh yeah, that's right. I probably that's
way.
so funny. Oh my god. So at that time, I initially met Mom Brew. I'm sure you guys know Mom Brew, right?
Oh yeah.
He's the one that like truly like made me fall in love with Boston. So shout out Mom Brew, and like actually be like, oh, I'm gonna step out of my apartment and not cry today, and it was great. So and eventually, again, leading to the point where I went to a party, Val was there, and we connected. So that was like it's pretty crazy, but cool how everything really is connected to something.
Yeah, but now it go even deeper. Why were you at that party?
I was at that party because at the time I had just been ended with a 5-year relationship. That was long distance, all this stuff. Yeah, so I was just like, at that point, I was super lost.
Also you were there because you knew Zach Cox from when you were young and playing hockey.
Yes. So Zach Cox was the only kid I knew from Arizona that went to Berkeley. And we played hockey against each other in high school. And he was roommates with David Wilson, D-Willie, sorry. And
so I came there with
we used to call him D-Will.
Yeah, D-Will.
He still has D-Will in my phone.
That's true. So
yeah, same.
It's so crazy how like that, all that stuff ended up to me again, meeting Val eventually, having one session. And then he ended up graduating pretty soon after that. And then I was like, when I was moving to LA, I was like, I gotta hook up with that German dude again. He was pretty chill.
We never hooked up. We've never hooked up. This is all platonic.
Hey, you know, the quarantine's long. You know, do you whatever.
Oh my God.
The creative process is a very complicated.
It couldn't be that long.
We just look up at the moon for 3 hours straight without blinking, and we're like, okay, we have the lyric inspiration, and that's how Fiji works.
What is interesting though, when you do think about like kind of how much is up to luck and outside of your control, like obviously like we all have worked like incredibly hard, but I think about this constantly, like how the fact that Noah and I came to meet and like work with each other had like 95% to do with the fact that we were just both on the same floor, a door down from each other in 270.
Yeah, it was just whoever put the dorms together was like largely responsible for this whole thing.
That's
like
insane.
literally, like they could have just moved me. If they moved me to 150, like my life would be completely different. And then on top of that, like the fact that Noah was reading Infinite Jest at the time was how we got to talking for the first time. Had he been reading a different book, had he not put it on his bed, maybe we would not have. Because there were people on that floor I just never really talked to.
Yeah,
that's so trippy to think about.
Yeah, you know, like everything that comes together, like it's all the pieces. Well, Val, you know, as far as like, because you've mentioned this to me before, like I was in a cafe visiting my now ex-girlfriend, and she was at work, and I was just like on the internet, and I put up a video of Jack Garrett because I thought it was really cool. And you found that video and said like that was this sort of inspiring thing. And then my birthday, you met Peter.
I mean, yeah.
Peter.
Honestly, earlier, I said it, right?
Yeah.
Well, we were on the phone with Tommy, and I was like, yo, I want to be on this podcast with Nate. One thing I got to say, I owe so much to Nate because the connection to Peter and also that video, those two things were like huge inspirations and turning points in my life.
No.
So, I mean, that's another thing. It's just like, you know, you had a lot of influence. Like with this video, I saw it and I was like, damn, this is actually like a lane that you can go into. You know what I mean? This like what you guys are doing too, where it's like almost like a one-man band. You can morph all the things like playing live and your production skills, and you know, you can morph all of that in visuals and like just with Ableton, you know what I mean? That's what that video showed me, and that was
what's crazy about that too, and again, just like connecting like all the threads is like it just happened that like my girlfriend at the time had to be at work. Like if she wasn't at work, I wouldn't have been in the cafe. I wouldn't have seen that video, wouldn't have posted it. And maybe you would have found inspiration elsewhere, but who knows? Like, and also like it just happened that my birthday was at Buca de Beppo's. So on top of just the fact that you and Peter, you know, decided to come, it was this long table, and you could have sat in a different side of the table with people. There were people from Berkeley, like people you knew, but instead, you know, like you both, I think, came like a little bit later. So you both were at the far end. And so you're sitting with a stranger, essentially.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, the fact that I just sat next to Peter, but also, you know, another connection that was made there was Peter and Surreal.
Oh,
They also met that day.
Oh my goodness.
Right. Yeah, because
So, shout out Peter.
Similarly, I think Surreal was like wandering around the table. I think he was seated towards the end, and I was talking to Sarah a bunch, so he wound up like moving to like talk to other people around. You know, chance is weird, man.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
Well, that's what's interesting about a duo, especially too, though, is that like, you know, sort of going back to chance, which is like, it's not the same. Like when you're alone, when you're like making music by yourself, that inspiration story could come from anywhere and could happen at any time. But like two people deciding to like literally like intertwine their destinies, as crazy and like dramatic as that sounds, not only is that a major decision, oftentimes that happens from an insignificant event, like
Definitely.
Like, did you think you'd be on a podcast like 5 years later when you went to a party,
No, everything is, it's crazy how one thing leads to another, which leads to a billion other things, literally. But yeah.
What's trippy about thinking about like the future, you know what I mean? Like, what is this going to affect? Is somebody going to hear this podcast and all, like, you never know. That's like so trippy.
It's just nice to also try to stay focused on the present because that's all you can control. So at this point, just grateful where we're at and happy to be a part of it.
But what you said earlier, sorry, is so interesting because we talk about this all the time. Like, to be able to do something like this, like be in a group with somebody and like literally like, we're 23, 24. This is like what we do, you know what I mean? Like that's our like, life. This is our career. This is like this is what we do, right? This is what we're here for. And then to combine that with somebody, you have to be on the same page about so many things. You need to be able to be together all the time. You know what I mean? Like there's so few people in the world that you can do that with.
Yeah.
That's like, it's a blessing to find that person, really. I mean, because a lot of people don't, and it's just so much harder to do it alone.
Yeah.
Well, and we take it for granted a little bit, but there's so much that Noah and I don't have to talk about anymore.
Yeah.
Like so much that's like implicit about like the nature of our collaboration and our friendship and our housemateship as well. Like
definitely
we have sort of a tacit understanding that we built over the course of 6 years, which is crazy.
It's a beautiful thing, honestly,
I mean, honestly, everything we did started out, of course, the first session, but it started out with just like being friends. And like just connecting on everything else. Music, was the main focus and talk of everything. But everything, especially to now, what we've created has just been a big throw in the pot of, ooh, this was a fun day. Or just, ooh, we talked about Clara for 3 hours too long, Trevor. Or just like, all this stuff. So it's crazy, especially like, really diving into your own heads and like what's going on in your personal life too. When you're writing, like, I have a very specific style of writing. Val has a style of writing, but like together, it like we have this weird next level of I don't want to sound like self-centered, but like just some weird cool stuff that we like agree on and see the world at in the same way.
I feel like we say this a lot, but every duo is like the same duo. It's like there has to be an 100% thing that works. Those are balances in personality that I feel every duo has in like different like ratios.
Definitely. Yeah.
When it comes to like actually from a production songwriting standpoint, when it comes to a work ethic standpoint, a social standpoint, there's so many like, I've met duos where two people are both like equally sort of okay with social settings. And I've, met duos where it's like hard one or hard the other. It's like there's, the duos where both produce, like capital P produce, and duos where one is the songwriter and one is the producer. Like there's all kinds of, but it's, at the end of the day, the working ratio is always going to be there,
For sure.
Like we're collectively like more similar to you collectively than I think we all are individually to each other.
Definitely. That's such a smart observation. Yeah.
I see the math equation in my head. It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta run the numbers. Our listeners, you're gonna have to actually take out a piece of paper, crunch some of the numbers.
Yes.
It's just the meme of the guy with the equations in front of his face. That's what I'm seeing right now.
The equation of a functioning duo. No, but I remember like the birth of the Fiji Blue project because you guys, speaking of free lunch, you guys actually took me out to Franklin and Company and said, by the way, we're starting this duo called Fiji Blue.
Yo,
like, do you have
wow.
any advice, questions?
I forgot about
There's
that.
There's been so many things since. That's crazy.
No lie, not gonna lie, I forgot about that.
Wow.
I did too until like just sort of reflecting on, before any episode, I'm just sort of like, okay, what's our history? What's the music? Like, I was thinking back, I'm like, yeah, we got lunch, and you guys were like, yeah, we're starting a project,
See, we took you out too, dude. We were one of those too that wanted to hear about the blogs. I remember.
Well, that's true. Like I said, it's never been like an aggressive thing. It's always just been friends sharing info.
Yeah,
I remember you were like, yeah, I want to take your advice. I'm like, Val, you're crushing it on Spotify. You don't need my help. Like, But you showed me your songs. I'm like, yeah, this is really, really good. It was what I liked about it was just it was different. Like it was different from what you guys were doing individually, but also different from like a lot of the stuff that I was hearing. There was something really natural about the project.
That means so much. I obviously appreciate that, man. Organicness has been the key word since the beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as like, obviously Val comes from a very, what do you say, like electronic.
Yeah, more electronic. I was doing a lot of electronic music when we met.
True.
I was making a lot of, mainly house and like
Yeah.
future bass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, at first, Fiji Blue actually started with Indigo, which is that super lo-fi,
Right.
weird, cool track. Still like it a lot.
Yeah.
It's on SoundCloud for anybody who can't find it. We took it down, sorry. But yeah, so our combinations, obviously, like, with what we were focusing on at the time, created the initial Fiji Blue sound, which honestly took a bit to like really define our sound. But eventually it kind of just clicked and it was.
But it's also changing. I mean, now
for sure.
the new stuff that we're making, it's so different again, which I love because it's just like our own musical tastes change, individually and then collectively too.
Yeah.
And then, the
You
sound
have to
will
make the
always
music you
evolve.
want to listen to.
Yeah,
Exactly.
But I think that there's just something about this combination of his writing, my production, and also just the people that we are and what we enjoy doing in the day, and like what like all that flows into the music and just makes it unique. And it's like we talked about it earlier, where it's like we know that this brand is so strong because it's just us and like what we do every day. Like, you know what I mean? We love going to the beach, like smoking weed, and like it's just like
Sorry, Mom.
that's the brand, but also that's just like who we are. So it's just not gonna be hard to ever keep that up. You know what I mean? Like it's just a very authentic project.
That's what really hits me about the project too. Is like your songs are doing great, and I could point to marketing, like all this whatever, but the truth is that like listening to the songs, like these are songs that actually genuinely connect, and because of that, like when they get playlisting, it's not like, they're doing well because of the playlisting. They're doing well because people are hearing it on the playlist and then listening to it again and again and again. I like that they're also shorter than 3 minutes, like oftentimes. So you can listen to it again and again and again. Like it's like this nice, like, and it's not empty calories. It's like, it's nutritional music.
Appreciate
that.
that.
Like that you can listen to over and over. It's easy listening, but not like without complexity, which I think
Organic
is so cool.
and nutritional.
And that's like that's why you're seeing it connect, and you're seeing it connect like in a way that almost like transcends the sort of industry behind marketing a song for streaming.
Well, first of all, that means so much to hear. That's wow.
Nutritional and organic.
Yeah, I'm taking it all in. That means a lot. I mean, we put so much thought into like. It stresses me out to think about, but I'm also grateful. Like literally since the beginning of this, before we had any music out, like, okay, what are the artworks going to look like? What are we going to like try to think about? Because I've had personal issues on my own artist project that like, at first my things were super pink and sexual and had font, and then I did ones with no font. Like I really just wanted to have something that was like not only aesthetically pleasing to the ear, but aesthetically pleasing from like literally birth to death, which hopefully will be never. But yeah, there's so much thought into this, and
I think we both had the luxury of like learning about the industry and like learning from the mistakes that we did with our past personal projects and bands.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Berkeley and what the people around us were doing wrong and what we liked. And I think like we spent so much time just hanging out, but analyzing like what do we like, what don't we like, how do we want this aesthetic to look like. And so it's like it's cool for us now, I think, to see like what we said in the beginning, where it was like all the album art should be blue. It's like just gonna be a blue like vibe, and it's gonna be like VHS, like it's gonna be DIY. Like we planned it from the beginning, and now we look at it and it's like we kind of made it become true. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it takes a minute for it to all like tie together. And at first, you're right. Like this, like Space Makes Me Sad. Shout out that song. That song really kicked it for us. It's 2 minutes and 12 seconds. So like the second we saw that do well, we're like, okay, cool. Maybe we should look back onto this instead of the indie, not indie, no, that's the later story. Instead of like the lo-fi stuff, we kind of, went into that new area and released Numb, which was more of the house sound, and just really found the niche. And at first there was only like 4 minutes of Fiji Blue you could listen to, even though there was like 3 songs. It's like, oh, I like Fiji Blue, but you come back, you listen, there's like 4 minutes, 8 minutes. So then now as we release more music, as time progresses, it's just, there's more of something to hold on to, and there's more for people to, grasp and understand. Well, we've been trying to create since the beginning. Like when you create something from nothing, as we all know, it's tough at first,
But it's also easy.
It is. It's nice. There's challenges, but there's obviously a lot of pros to it for sure.
I think you said it best too, Val, that like that you guys had individual projects that you guys could learn from. I feel like so much that like of our kind of baggage as like Sleeping Lion is that all of our mistakes, you know, all the good stuff that we've done, but also all the sort of mistakes that we made, like are this
It's
sort
still
of
part of our record.
yeah, it's part of our like public kind of story, which I'm proud of to be able to be like, okay, that worked, that didn't work, whatever. But on the other side too,
There's definitely a part of me that yearns for like a clean break, like
clean
a clean
slate.
aesthetic. Like
Definitely.
there's something to be said for that. Like that's obviously what we all want is like a perfectly realized kind of thing. I mean, I think we've done well with our album art, but like our
Sonics,
our
are-
Sonics
yeah.
have gone through a journey, and like that's like part of our history.
But also-
that's part of growing up through as a musician and as
Yeah.
a duo and everything. And everything's going to be we're still learning. And, you know, everybody I feel like still learns from mistakes they make in small or big ways. So
Also, I would hope that the Sonics are a journey. Like you don't,
Yeah.
you know, you don't
Yeah.
want that. You don't want to. You don't want to get stuck in one place, and you can never could. I mean,
yeah.
you're adapting to what's going on in the music world, what fans like, what you like individually.
Yeah, what's going on in your
But
life.
I feel like recently, our like sonically, it's been this sort of journey, and you can hear it of us sort of reconnecting with like the stuff that really, you know, vibe with us from the beginning. Like when I came to Berkeley, remember Val? Like I was in a folk band. I was touring with Miette. So
Yeah,
that's
you know, like
Full circle.
like we're coming back now to making folk music with everything that we know about pop music. And now pop's also come around in a very different way. Like what pop music was when we all started versus what it is now, there's definitely more organic elements. So we're coming back to the things that we know best. But now the pop world is different. And now, you know, we have a pop sensibility. So you learn, you grow with all this stuff. But yeah,
Definitely,
you know,
yeah.
sometimes you have to go out to come back in, I think, you know, like to come back to yourself in a sense. Take me through Space Makes Me Sad. Like how did that song come to be? What was the sort of spark for it?
Val always passes this one to me. I'll try to condense it.
Yeah, okay.
He gets mad at me. So when I was born March 18th, no, I'm kidding. So basically, for the title itself came when I was like 15, which is so weird to think about. But I always used to say, and all my friends can vouch, I would look up at the sky and just get sad. And I'd be like, space makes me sad. Someone would be like, oh, the moon looks so pretty tonight. And, you know, the girlfriend at the time would be like, oh, don't say that. You know, space makes Trevor sad. So I held on to it. I had pride with it. I was like, you know what? All that shit up there, like, I don't know what's going on. And we'll never know. And truly, it just made me sad in some weird way. But fast forward, Val and I were trying to write something. And, you know, typically I don't like writing to titles. But it just felt like a cool idea. And we kind of twisted it. Turned it into like not only
Long distance sort of thing.
long distance, exactly, like the space between like you and this other person, on top of the comparison with a lot of space puns and whatnot. But just like, you know, trying to speak of something beautifully, because like, when I think of space, it's just so hauntingly vast, and I think there's a lot to compare when it's with the space of a relationship sometimes in the most ambiguous way. So that's the start of that. And
Yeah, and then that song was definitely also a journey. This was one of the songs where it was like 8 different versions, you know, like
Yeah.
6 different drops. There was like there's one that was like an actual chorus, then there was one with like a vocal chop that sounded like a whale.
yeah, the walrus. There's the
walrus.
infamous Space Makes Me Sad version where it's ooh, ooh, and it's just a dying walrus sound. And Val wanted it. A few people wanted it, and I just said no.
What I like about it too, and kind of what I was saying as well, is that it is this short song, but there's a lot packed into it to the point where when it ends, and I believe it ends with like kind of a fade out, right?
Fade out,
Yes. Fade out on a
Yeah.
2-minute, 12-second song.
yeah. The laziest thing you can ever do. dude.
Yeah, the fade out is approximately 1 minute long.
Yeah.
No.
God.
So what's nice is that like by the time the song is over, you just kind of want to play it again. It reminds me, Val, you know Keon Palmer, right?
Yeah.
He
I was
actually went to
writing,
ASU with me at one point. Sorry, I didn't know why.
That's wild.
So yeah,
Super-
super weird, yeah. But anyway, sorry.
It's super small world. No, I wrote a song with him called 5 Night Stand, and I remember I wanted a third chorus in there, and he's like, "Why?" And I said, "Well, because like I feel like people will want to hear it again." And he said, "Well, they
Yeah,
can
exactly.
if they listen to
Facts.
it again." And like that was I don't remember if it was him or Joe who said it, but one of them said it in the session, and that like changed my entire brain, I think, because that's true. If there's something you like about a song,
Listen
if
to
you
it
want to hear
again.
a chorus
Yeah.
again, press that little rewind
Yeah.
button.
We should
Well,
just release
I'll
30
take that
second
third of a
songs with
cent,
one
please,
chorus,
you know?
not even have it resolve, and just
Exactly.
2 albums.
There's something to be said for that.
I
think we're going to
getting
see
there.
more of that. It's the logical conclusion.
The reference song for Space. Abi Dijon, this artist Dijon.
I love Dijon. He's
Yeah.
sick.
This song called Ignore. How
wanna-
about you guys? Do you usually work with references or?
I think less so. I think I'm personally trying to move away from referencing stuff and like trust my instincts more because I feel like I always get in my head about references and they
Yeah.
mess me up sometimes more than they like help me.
Plus, you can once you know that you can trust your instincts. You know
Yeah,
what I mean, it's,
I like to think I've been
You're your
doing
best
this long enough that I have instincts that'll lead me in a good direction.
If
Definitely.
I use references, it tends to be something like a little bit off the beaten path. Like I'll reference like 2008 like Yonkers pop punk, or I'll reference like a Broadway track or like something like that. You know, I'll like reference pieces of sound design or like little pieces of like writing style that is not like, oh, Billie Eilish or the 1975 or something, you know?
Like a non-traditional way of referencing stuff, you know? I
Yeah.
think that's cool.
Just like things from our past that I think still kind of resonate with us, but not so much like, I think referencing music in the zeitgeist is really dangerous,
Definitely.
you know?
I agree. I mean,
true. Yeah.
Talk me through Home though. I really love Home. I specifically love when the chorus drops. That bass line is just it's tasty.
Know that you're coming back home. Know that you're coming back home in the morning. I know that you're coming back home. Having my own
Splice.
And then the actual.
Yeah, that bass line, Val. Shout out Val. Wow. He's the king of bass lines. And that one specifically to me, yeah, that one hits different for real.
That song, and this is actually a cool story about Home. So how Home came about is we were rehearsing for our very first Fiji show at the Peppermint Club. And I had my drum set up at his apartment. And one day we would just like, after the rehearsal, we just started to play and just like jam. And that was the first song that came about, just started by just like playing. And he came up with the chords and the first and the chorus line.
Yeah, the lines came really, really quick actually to that song. Because at the time, I think, were we both like distanced? Or basically my girlfriend, she goes to Stanford and she had just left after living with me in LA for a year. And so she was in Stanford and basically was just writing this, love story of a Fiji's perspective of just missing somebody and knowing that they're coming home tomorrow though, and in anticipation of.
And I was going through a bad breakup. So
Yeah, so I mean, emotions were pouring.
yeah.
The room was dark blue. A tear or 3 might have been shed, but no. Exactly.
Down the
Exactly.
ibuprofen.
But yeah, that song came really, really organically, which I loved, and it's still a favorite of mine. It was a favorite of ours for so long, and when we had the decision of what song was going to be next, it was kind of a no-brainer for us.
And it was the first time that we kind of decided. So we actually dropped Home as an experiment to see how people would react to more indie-leaning production and song. Like that was like the first time it was like acoustic guitar and the drums feel like more organic, and it was still dancey, but we definitely dropped it as an experiment. We were like, okay, if this song doesn't do well, maybe we just keep going with the more like housey, and if this song does very well, then maybe the indie stuff works well too. So it was a cool experience, and we were super happy that people connected with it.
I love that it comes out of like the fact that you guys were in a band practice,
Yeah.
like literally a band
Yeah.
practice. And then you guys were just jamming until the song came, because in a lot of ways that's how all of us first kind of started songwriting. We were in our bands in high school, and it's not like you would go to a songwriting session and sometimes you'd write songs in your room, but if you were in a band, oftentimes you would just be like, okay, cool, we practiced our songs, you guys want to like jam to
No, that's how the best songs are made.
Or like
I'm
jam
just
to-
convinced. That's how I want to write most of the songs from now on. We
That's
just
how it's
wrote
been, yeah.
that's how we've been writing, and just not even writing to any track or anything, just raw, just playing, vibing for an hour.
Yeah.
What I like about Home too is like, I think it's a good experiment because you can also see like that's what people are connecting to and what people are like resonating with. Like with the Fiji Blue project, you're not necessarily dealing with the same sort of quote unquote industry rules. You're in your own sound, you're in your own world. And because of that, like, is it connecting or is
Exactly.
it not?
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
all that like you can
And it's
see.
been nice because
you know?
so then we
And that's really cool.
I went home to Germany for Christmas, hadn't seen my parents in a minute, and I shot the little visual and so now this is officially the Fritz
right.
family anthem. We have
Shout out Sabrina and Uli.
Sabrina and Uli, my parents, decided that Home is the official family anthem now, and that was cool.
That was I mean, I haven't even met them, but like I already feel connected more, and I can't wait to. His family, seriously, that VHS visual for that song is so sweet because not only did my perspective tell more of like a love story, his was like coming home to family, which is just another type of love. You know, it's just
that's another way that I think this song is also connecting with people because it just can be, you know, it's not just about a lover, you know, it's just about generally people that you love, you know.
Yeah, just missing. Yeah, exactly.
Missing people and coming home. It's also interesting too. Like I'm kind of realizing this, Trevor, that we're both in duos with people who have family abroad.
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Because
My family's in Rome.
Wow.
Yeah, Noah's family's in Rome. Val, you should have put out the Fritz family remix where it's just your family doing it a cappella.
It might still happen, dude.
Fritz remix. Yeah.
The Fritz remix.
That'd be a fire name.
Yeah, the Fritz remix.
Get the handle.
Another song I love, and you know, mind you, like I picked like I think, you know, there's 6 songs. I think I picked like
That's
4,
okay. Whatever
4 to
2
talk
you don't
about, 3
pick, we'll have
talk
to take
about.
down from Spotify. So
That's fine. Looking at you, you know, in the room. No, I love Numb. Especially there's this one line, I think the first verse, which is, I'd rather be half involved than missing all of you.
What do I need to do to get some time with you? I'd rather be half involved than missing all of you.
That, like,
yeah,
was that you,
was
Trevor?
Trevor
Was
for
that,
sure.
yeah, all right, I see you. I
course.
see you.
yeah. I'm
That's
glad you like
sick.
that. That line.
That's sick.
So simply said, but so deep. I don't know. It's when I got that in my head when it popped up randomly in the little cloud, sad cloud in my head.
Shout out to the Fiji gods.
Yeah, that was a Fiji god line for sure. But anyways, yeah, I really I like that line a lot. That one connected. I think it's just a simple way of saying, you know, you'd rather be a little bit involved than never
Yeah.
with a person, obviously, which is relatable.
I relate to that.
Or like, you know,
daily.
I feel like when people have hesitations about getting into relationships, like seriously, it's because they know if it ends, it's gonna suck.
Definitely.
You know, like I know the point of no return where it's just like, oh, if this ends, it's gonna
Yeah.
gonna hurt shit. Like I didn't know what
It's
I don't
sad how
want
us
to get here.
song music people
you know?
always like we could be in perfectly fine relationships, but then you just wake up and you're like, if you were to get hit by a bus and I was alone, I'd be really sad. Like, or is that?
Yeah.
It's just weird. And then you're like, that's good inspiration for a song.
It's part of the job.
just like weird.
That's the job.
Yeah. Is this you like sort of quietly announcing the next Fiji Blues song
Yeah.
hit by a bus?
Hit by a
Let me get the
bus.
guitar. There's a snippet of it I can play for you guys.
No.
No spliced. Yeah, so I should have told you. We're embracing a little bit of indie disco on this one. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for this.
You should have told me what? What should you
Should have told you that I loved you one more time.
I should have told you that I loved you one more time, one more time, one more time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
shit.
one more time.
That's good.
I've been very, very heavily influenced by Parcels lately. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the band Parcels. If you're not familiar with the band
No.
Parcels, better get familiar. They're like
Okay.
the lead singer looks like he's George Harrison, but they do like live like funk disco music
Very
with
cool.
like 5-part harmonies, and it's amazing.
Oh, shit.
I'm here
so
for it.
I would say that song was influenced by Parcels, and also it's kind of a combination of Numb. I think it has a bunch of elements of Numb as well.
Yeah.
So
Was there a lyric that opened it up for you?
Honestly, this one came super organically as well. Val was just jamming on his piano, creating iconic lines per usual. And I was staring into the mirror, doing some weird stuff. And I don't know that, I should have told you that I loved you one more time. It just like immediately. Sometimes you have like those little simple hooks that like just come immediately.
honestly, yeah, that's the way that our songs always start. Is that I usually would just get the chords, and when we have the chords, then it's just like 30 minutes of like vibe, and all of a sudden there will be that one line.
Yeah.
It's usually like that. with
And
all
if
songs
it's
like
quicker,
that.
it's usually better, obviously. But sometimes, that one came pretty quick. So that one,
Yeah, if you overthink it, then you wind up like getting
Exactly,
lost
yeah,
in the weeds
definitely.
of it. I feel.
definitely.
No, that's awesome. I'm excited for everybody to check it out.
Yeah.
It's out now, so as at the time of this releasing, so everybody should
Yeah, please
definitely
do.
check it out and give it a listen. Put it on your playlist, people. But you said that Butterflies wouldn't have come out or existed if it hadn't been for the quarantine. So how did that song come to
Yeah.
be?
So Butterflies, actually, it's funny. So that the day that basically Numb got like New Music Friday, it was our first big like Fiji milestone. We knew we had to get together and write music. So we kind of got together and like literally camped up for 5 days straight at Val's place and just made like the first new wave of music. Ended up getting like 6 songs in 5 days, which was great. But Butterflies was the first one we
Holy
wrote
shit.
since Numb, which was crazy to think of
Yeah.
how long it takes sometimes for a song to come out. But it was always basically a favorite of ours. Always stashed it in the back to, send to people, be like, yo, this is coming out, but not anytime soon. Yeah, and so basically we had set plans to release another song called Outside right during a potential school night show we would have had at the end of May. We wanted to release it at the same time and like do a whole big release thing. And, with the whole pandemic and everything, we kind of got reeled back as everybody else did. And we kind of thought about what the best step would have been. And we just wanted to literally put our favorite song out into the world rather than holding it for like that EP single, like, basically just trying to put the best stuff out because we believe in it. And at the time it felt right. It was a good, happy song. And
Those 5 days that was like a spiritual experience.
yeah.
It was like
crazy.
5 days of just every day morning from like 11 a.m. to like late at night, just like cooped up in the room, so in the music, but like very inspired. Like one day we made 2 songs because it was just like so much creativity. And Butterflies, to me, every time I listened to that song, it brought me back to that like time and those like 5 days that were so special. And I think that's why also it was just like such a special song for us, because it was a cool time, very, very creative, like intense 5 days. And we just wanted to release that one real bad.
You really make me wanna fly. Cross my heart and hope to die. Lonely, you're the reason why I can feel those butterflies when I go to sleep at night.
That's awesome. And incidentally, like, not only did Butterflies get great playlisting, like you guys were the cover of Fresh Finds.
Crazy.
Did you guys have another 5-day Fiji Blue camp?
We have to, yeah.
I mean,
that?
we had mini Fiji Blue 5-day camps since the original 5-day camp. They've been 7-day camps. They've been 2. I mean, it's been nonstop basically since Space and Numb, to be honest. Exactly.
It's the quarantines, really. It's the. Are you guys ready for the question round?
Yeah.
Yeah, super ready.
Hit us.
All right, let's go. First question. What is your phone background?
Ooh.
For both of you.
This is so opposite.
I have my favorite tree.
Nice. What's your favorite tree?
My favorite tree is it's like 15 minutes away from my house. It's at this dam, and during the quarantine, I've been going there and meditating by that tree.
Nice. That's great. I love.
Does it have a name?
It doesn't have a name. The leaves like move because it's like a live photo, you know.
I don't know what to say, but I like it.
Listen, I have a favorite tree too, so I'm with you. I get it.
Honestly, I thought I was the ambiguous one of this group, but this dude, man,
big
trees
vibe.
know everything. I love it.
Let that one sit.
Honestly, I feel like he said everything. Like I feel like we just end the podcast right then and there.
Roots, they just meet in the middle and they just all mingle.
Val is like, everything's connected. Everything's connected. Trees know everything. I'm gonna take you one step further. All trees are connected.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
And fungus is like
We're the visitors here.
the biggest natural connector.
We're the virus.
Like I think the largest organism in the world is like a fungal network. Just throwing that out there.
Trevor, what's your phone background?
Yeah, my phone background is my girlfriend wearing a Fiji Blue sweater. So it's Brand, and it's the girl. Oh,
Brandon Bay.
Yeah, Brandon Bay. Yeah.
Hey.
For a second, your phone went dark, and I just saw my face.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, your background's me?
And my
Like,
background
I'm so
is just
flattered.
a picture I took 5 minutes ago of you, and it's great.
Oh, thanks, Trev. Appreciate it.
Do you guys have non-musical hobbies?
Val, oh my god, get ready.
I've picked up a few. No, I actually my most recent hobby that I picked up is surfing, and I've been loving
nice.
it.
That's
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's great.
No.
What else? What else? Because the way that you guys just laughed there,
I'm also currently in the process of growing my first cannabis plant, and it's been going okay. I'm on my second try, and that cooking. I don't
Val
know.
is the perfect housewife.
Because I feel very much the same
am.
way about Noah's a phenomenal cook. Like no, I feel like producers in general have like the mental framework to like have patience with projects, whereas like I feel like songwriters their hobbies tend to be more like instant gratification.
Never thought about that,
Interesting.
dude.
Yeah, that's
That's
very
cool.
relatable.
Yeah, that's very relatable. You're right. Like seeing a project all the way through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like starting with
as
like
a producer, you have to get in the knit. You have to like it's a waiting game, just like cooking. Like there's parts that you just have to get right and wait for.
Yeah, cooking for me is like really like a terrifying experience.
you guys
it's
can have a
overwhelming. Like,
chat about that.
Well, Trevor, do you feel this way when you like? Because you could, I'm sure, Trevor, you could produce, but when you like sit down at the console and stuff, don't you sometimes get that like little pang of anxiety? Like, wow, there are so many things I could do and do right or do wrong or do like whatever.
Honestly, yes. I mean, here's the thing. Like Val, I've been watching him now for probably a billion hours on Ableton, and we swap and do some things, but it's 99.9% him on the computer when we're doing stuff. And basically, it just stresses me out how he can just like,
Dude.
he just turns down the volume on something like without even like having to be a specific number or something. And I'm like, that affects the song forever. And it's just like, I just want to make sure everything has a purpose. And I'm very like, I don't know. I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, do CD, but I don't know. In good ways.
No, I go back to my thesis that every duo is the same duo, and I feel like songwriters, our brains are set up because people think that songwriting is this like wholly sort of creative process, but I feel like songwriting is actually a very technical process of like there's one right version of a song that you're sort of just like trying to get the puzzle right. Like it's kind of like it's like a crossword or Sudoku or like whatever, in the sense that if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. Still, there's obviously like a lot of like I'm being very reductive in that, but by and large, I feel like songwriting is a much more linear process. Whereas like production, I get so freaked out, even though I know how it all works and I've seen Noah for hours do it. Like there's so much stuff. I feel like cooking is in that same mentality of there's so many things you can do. There's so many things you could do wrong or right, and you don't even necessarily
I need to know exactly how many
Whereas, like,
seconds
I feel like
you need to microwave something, or else it's
yes,
for real.
I was Noah challenged me on like the other podcast. Like he challenged me to cook something, and they were just sort of like, it's like this many ounces of chickpeas. I'm like, how many is a can? Like I got one.
It says on the can how many ounces it
I'm like,
is.
what if? But it's like, okay, well, if I accidentally give like 3 more chickpeas, then
Val
the
is the
recipe
Fiji
implies
chef.
that I fuck
For
up the
sure.
whole thing. Like.
Fiji chef.
But I don't know. Like I really like things. From a domestic standpoint, like I like doing the dishes, or like from a hobby standpoint, I feel like podcast editing is really like
No, that's great.
like linear processes where you sort of see the progress getting done and you see the things sort of shape up.
It's less of like, let me just throw this together and see and like try out stuff,
No, it's like here, like I need lists. I'm like a
Like
list.
this is what you need to do.
Honestly, when he's doing his stuff too, like I've taken times to be like, it's just an art form, like a little vocal shimmer, 13%, doesn't matter. And I'm like, okay, it ends up sounding great. So I'm cool with it.
And I mean, we're trying to learn from each other too. I mean, he's on the computer more and more now too. Like we're definitely trying to, I'm trying to be more organized and clean and OCD too. So
I mean, we've been challenging each other in a similar way, because again, I feel like part of being in a duo is sort of pushing the other outside of their comfort zone, like just enough. But yeah, definitely, I like the Bob Ross mentality of like make big decisions and let them go, as long as I don't need to be the one to make those decisions.
Bob Ross, man, that dude's a vibe.
yeah.
Dude, that guy's a whole vibe. But yeah, I definitely get blank canvas fears, but definitely working through them.
Next question in the question round. Do you guys have skills that you would like to have?
I wish I didn't overthink things as much, just as I'm doing right now. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I
Is that a skill?
wish I could read people's minds and thoughts.
Val's going like that with it. Okay. I didn't know we were going that way with it. Flying would be sick.
Listen, I didn't know
There are no rules.
I didn't know you could go that way either, but I guess there are no rules.
I guess
I
you
wish I
did
could
it.
just
Yeah.
pop flowers out of my fingers. Here you go.
That would be fun.
I don't think I'd want to read people's minds, just because like I already kind of know what people think of me most of the time.
Maybe not just about
I don't
you
need that
though. What
confirmed.
decisions they're gonna make,
Yeah.
what their dreams are.
They don't even know what decisions they're gonna make.
Then you would
Yeah.
never have to talk to them though, and no, just
True.
Well, hey, it comes down to, I think one of my
makes sense.
linear hobbies is conversation. I love getting to know somebody, the process of
That is actually a nice
of sort
process.
of
You're right.
peeling
It
the
is.
layers. Yeah.
All right, and now we've reached the most important question.
Most important question
of the podcast.
yeah.
Would you be a pirate?
In today's time, like Hollywood pirate.
Yeah. No, you're downloading movies illegally.
Like old-timey swashbuckling pirate.
like Pirates of the Caribbean pirate.
Yeah, like you're on a ship, you might get scurvy, you're probably going to have
I
to commit
definitely-
crimes, but there's
Valid.
no real...
PG-13
I would
crimes?
not.
Oh my goodness. I like to think of like the pirates that like, you know, like I'd have an eye patch, but I'd still have two eyes and like a peg leg maybe. And like just like long, luscious hair and like definitely would have to be the captain, you know, of course. Val would be the guy down there just shooting the cannons. Just like, good job, little Val. Yeah, I'd have to be the captain. Val, what about you?
Maybe the chef,
Ooh, pirate chef.
pirate chef.
That's great.
Coming
I feel
back
like
to
everybody's gonna like the chef because everybody's got to eat. No one's gonna
That's
betray
true.
the chef.
No one's going to betray the chef.
Nobody's gonna
This guy
betray the
cooks
chef.
really
People
good
might come to you
meatballs.
being like,
Really
hey, can you
good.
poison this guy? And you'd be like, I got you, fam.
Exactly.
No. I feel like Val would be like, listen, I respect my duty as a chef, and I will not poison anybody. Nobody is getting poisoned today.
Val might poison some people. I don't know.
Depends who's on the ship. Maybe the captain. Only the captain, dude.
I feel like Fiji Blue is a pretty nice name for a pirate ship.
Honestly, cruise lines could be a venture in our future.
Yeah.
For sure.
We're definitely gonna venture out of. Fiji Blue will not just be music eventually.
I mean, you know, you're talking to sleeping lion, talking lion, gaming lion, guessing lion, drinking lion.
See,
Drinking light.
yeah, it is what it is.
Amazing, dude. What kind of alcohol would you guys put out?
I'd be really into like beer. I feel like
if I could make a whiskey, if I could get into making whiskey, that would be amazing.
Drinking lion, that would be pretty chill.
and also like coffee. But that might
coffee.
be like brewing lion.
Some espresso beans.
Brewing lion.
Yeah.
Brewing
Hell
lion.
yeah.
Mm.
So who knows?
All right, we're gonna be in business.
We'll be in business. I'll
We'll
have
be in
my
business.
people
We'll
talk
have
to your
our guy.
people.
Yeah,
as-
exactly.
You know,
Shout out Tommy.
Exactly.
I feel like our
Tommy,
people
make the
already
call.
talk pretty often anyway.
Next question is, what was your first tattoo?
Ooh.
Come on,
Mine
Trevor.
is mine's just a little what is it, a blossom, cherry blossom.
Yeah.
I actually got it in LA when I was 19. I promised myself that I'd only have one little flower on my arm and a sleeve on my left arm, and it just turned into an entire sleeve on my right arm. So it didn't work out, but it worked out, you know.
My first one was this one right here. It says "Music is my religion." I got it on my 18th birthday.
Oh, nice.
Nice. I like that it's in script too.
Yeah,
Do you-
it's pretty dramatic.
and I guess follow-up question, because you guys are pretty tatted up. What's your favorite tattoo?
Ooh. Val?
Excellent.
Come on,
I mean, go ahead.
the butterfly.
I also have a butterfly. I love it, but honestly, I think my favorite one has to be these two birds with it flying in front of a sunset. Just a little sunset and birds.
What's the significance of that?
I love birds and I love sunsets.
There you go.
They're both peaceful things to me.
Did you get the butterflies like in the spirit of the song, or?
So I already had mine for a bit, but Val got his butterfly the day after our show. in
Yeah.
March.
So I got a tattoo the day after our show in SF, and I got a tattoo a day after our show here. So it was gonna be a pre-pandemic. It was gonna be a ritual, but I got this one because of Butterflies is probably my favorite song we ever made. So
Yeah, that was before we were gonna put it out, so we just
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Was that the Madame Siam show you got the tattoo after?
yeah.
yes.
Cool.
I just got a
Cool.
swan. Or no, I'm sorry. It's a
crane.
A crane. Wow, I don't even know what it is.
A bird,
What was the
a poultry.
poultry? What were the first concerts you guys ever attended?
Oh wow. Go ahead.
For me was Carlos Santana.
Ooh,
Wow.
interesting.
Mine. Wow. I'm so ashamed. It was the Black Eyed Peas.
It's not a shame. I used to
That's-
love the Black Eyed
no.
Peas.
I don't mean ashamed in a
That's
bad
awesome.
way.
Everyone
just like,
likes the Black Eyed Peas. It's like
I
was
used
like-
to
it's like a
love the
law.
Black Eyed Peas.
I was like 10. I don't know. Like it wasn't my choice type of deal. You know, it was cool though. They're cool. But
Well, I had all the albums.
I mean,
used to love
Fergie-
Black Eyed Peas.
I had a crush on
Well,
her.
okay,
yeah.
well, Trevor, what was the first concert you went to that was your
That you're
your
not
choice?
ashamed of.
Yeah. What was the first concert that you weren't dragged to?
Oh my
you know?
goodness. I don't even know, dude. I saw Mac Miller in 2011. That was like Blue Slide Park. That was a cool stage. That wasn't my first concert, but that sticks out to me as like an early concert, really memorable time for sure.
How about you guys?
Ooh, my first real concert.
Are they allowed to do that?
Yeah, I just broke the
Just
podcast.
broke the whole
Podcast is
podcast.
turned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My first real concert was I saw Serge Tankian, the singer of System of a Down, with the Milan Symphony
Oh.
Orchestra.
used to love System of a Down.
It was a
dude.
weird show
Is that
because it was like
Downs?
this big
No.
orchestral show off of based off of Serj Tankian's first solo record. But it was cool. It was a cool show.
Mine was, I think I was like either 4 or 6. I saw Yes with my dad at Jones Beach. And, you know, seeing Rick Wakeman play was like why I wanted to like get into playing piano because he
Cool.
was such a crazy keyboard player. But the first concert that like I took my dad to, because my dad like wanted me to be into Yes. So, you know, I wasn't dragged there. I very much enjoyed it. But like the first concert that I chose to go to was Green Day.
Wow, very cool.
Cool. Hell yeah. We got System of a Down, Green Day, Mac Miller, and Santana. That's chill.
Santana.
It's an interesting mix.
That would be a crazy power group.
yeah.
That would be
Imagine the
very
collab.
weird. Yeah.
There'd be so many instruments.
Bro, it's crazy how, because Santana also was like a huge influence at concert, and it's crazy how, I mean, obviously our dads, usually it's the dads, right? Or the parents. You know how they have the influence. So I think like, what's the music that I'm going to show my kids? You know what I mean? What do I want them to like, you know? And
Dad, why are we going to a Claro concert for the 15th time this month? Shut up.
I love
Uncle
how
Trevor's
often you guys have
dragging me once
mentioned
again.
Claro in the podcast. It's so good.
No, I
as
really-
he's wearing the Claro shirt too.
yeah, I'm wearing it. No, I'm just a fan. She's dope.
Well, have you ever thought about like trying to explain all this to your kids too? Like, you know, in a lot of ways, like not for nothing, no matter where this goes, we've already done a lot more than, you know, like we've done enough to be able to like actually talk about this as like a significant part of our,
Yeah.
you know, time in our 20s. Like, could you imagine like to explain to your kid, oh yeah, like my day to day looked like writing songs and playing shows. Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
I mean, come on. What else does a kid want? The coolest dad in the school.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna be late because we're gonna be like, yo, like listen to Claro, you know, listen to Lido, and they'll be like, that's all that old music.
Yeah.
Yeah, that old, wow.
It's like, Dad, I'm listening to Young Plant 420 right now. Like, so that's a rap name in the future that I just came up with.
Young Plan 420 is
Young
an
Plan
amazing,
420.
amazing
Yeah,
future
please,
rapper
yeah,
name
please, I
for
need to
sure.
trademark
That needs to happen tomorrow.
Young Plant 420.
You guys, is this where you guys started your side project? Or maybe Young Plant 420 is listening to this right now.
Let me tell you something. There are songs in the vault. There will be a separate side project. It'll be rap. It'll be Trevor rapping.
Yeah,
It's gonna be so sick, and I can't wait for the day that happens. I'm
here
announcing
for
it now. I'm announcing
Maybe
it now.
when we have time. Yes.
We have time.
No,
but there
but
are
you
songs
You got
already
nothing but
though.
time now.
But hey, talking about, you know, influence, like maybe some kids listen to this podcast and they're like, they've been looking for is a rap name, and we just gave them Young Plant 420.
I mean, as long as I get 51% of it, that's cool. I'm telling them right
Yeah.
now, 51% is
That's
me.
fair. That's fair.
That's a steep. I would have asked for 15. Young Plant, I'll take you out for 15. How's that?
Yeah.
I don't think that's how that works.
Yeah,
You can't just take the idea. Next question is, what are you guys' favorite movie, book, and TV show?
Oh goodness.
The
Val, go
content
first so
dump.
I can think about mine.
Okay. Favorite movie, Goodfellas.
Ooh,
Shout out young Robert De Niro. It's so cool. TV show,
Marty
The Sopranos.
Scorsese.
Yes, sir. Favorite TV show, no surprise, The Sopranos.
Okay.
And then favorite book, maybe The Great Gatsby.
Interesting.
Okay. So you just
Val
like
is-
you
yeah.
you like mob crime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
general-
love. I mean, that's my favorite genre, probably. Yeah, Martin Scorsese. I mean, Irishman. I like the old, like De Niro mob, like Italian New Yorker, like basically the combination of you two.
Yeah, basically Italian American.
You should watch this documentary called McMillions, because it's about the McDonald's monopoly fraud, but it's heavily tied into like the mafia and the mob and stuff.
Yeah, it's really
Cool.
interesting.
I should watch that. I heard about that.
Yeah. White collar crime, baby.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite TV show, easiest question ever. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh,
That tracks.
I've watched it too many times. I've taken a lot of influence from it. Probably not the best idea, but anyways, love that show. And favorite book, The Giving Tree. Such a sad little
Ooh.
boy's tree. Yeah, or I didn't say that correctly, but
It's a
Sad little boy's
it's,
tree.
it's a
Sad
good
little
it's a
boy
good
tree, yeah.
I feel like that's always a good that book's always like a good metaphor for like growing up and like how we kind of treat our parents. We just like take stuff.
yeah, I know.
know?
And they're like
And you-
still like, I love you, and it's like messed up, but it's beautiful, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or metaphor for toxic relationships you find yourself in your 20s.
Yeah, exactly. It finds ways to creep up on you every time. Movie-wise, I don't know if I can answer. I mean, Happy Gilmore.
Nice. All right, now I'll take it.
I don't know. That's is Bob Barker. It's funny. I don't know.
Good stuff.
I like the dichotomy. Like Val's over here, like shaking people down and breaking legs. you know,
Exactly.
from a
Val's the one
genre,
who- yeah.
and you're on the other side, like with like golf and like a Philly bar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. the duos clash. It's great.
I love it.
I'm here for it.
Do either of you have a scar with a story?
I don't actually.
That's
You're
an
un-
acceptable
You're
answer.
unscathed.
I'm unscathed.
You've made it- you've made it this far in
untouched
life.
by men.
Wow. Are you
Shout out
blessed?
Fiji water. Here's the official plug. Fiji water, the best water in town. I don't know. I gotta come up with a better line, but yeah, drink
Untouched
Fiji
by
water.
man,
For,
that's
for,
good.
for
Touched
those
by
listening
men.
at home, Valentine is actually holding a thing of Fiji water. That's
I'm
not
holding the
rhetorical.
Fiji
He
water,
actually
and let me
has
just
it
tell
in
you
his hand.
something. Fiji water comes from a sustainable ancient aquifer deep within the earth on the islands of Fiji. Bottled at the source, natural pressure forces the water towards a sealed delivery system directly into the bottle, free from human contact. And let me tell you, I thought you can't taste it, actually. I thought he was tripping when he first told me about it. But now, that shit tastes so good. You can taste it.
Yeah, you could taste the difference. I've been
All right.
on multiple water blind tests.
Wow.
You put,
I feel like
5 waters in front of me. I know which one's Fiji. It doesn't matter.
I feel like I need
And
to like publicly say that we're not sponsored by Fiji water.
But
that just
I think after
happened.
that, we could
Podcast is
be.
not sponsored, but Fiji water, if you want to sponsor Fiji,
Blue.
I remember asking you guys like why you named your band Fiji Blue, and I vaguely remember Val just being because we love Fiji water, like
Yeah,
just something.
It's definitely a part for sure.
yeah, it was one half of it.
Yeah.
Trevor loved Fiji water, and we always make our music with our blue light on. That's it.
Yeah.
There
It's
you
the
go.
formula.
I'm getting flashbacks to the Franklin and Company, lunch.
Yeah.
I think I was like, why that name? You're like, this is why. I'm like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah. Nothing too deep.
Well, on that note
Yeah.
of not thinking too much.
Oh, yeah, fine. The next question is, what are 3 thoughts you have at this moment? Go.
3 thoughts I have right now is what's the next merch line gonna look like?
What ad libs are we gonna record later?
I should have told you album art, even though it's out already.
And we are having so much fun on this podcast. Actually,
Yes, this is so much fun.
this is actually a lot of fun, dude.
yeah, and I should
Love
probably
it.
call my mom today. I just
We're
remembered.
having,
Likewise.
we're having a great time. It's like I said, it's just nice like catching up with old friends because there's none of that like like nice to meet you and like
Tell
like,
us your whole life
tell us
story.
your whole life story and then but also I just feel like sense of humor wise like I know your sense of humor, you know ours, so we can just like joke around as opposed
Exactly.
to sort of like testing the waters with like a joke and being like, oh wait, they didn't get that one, that's fine, like
Constantly testing
I just
we've
feel
been-
bad for you having to cut out all of our stupid blubbles.
Actually, I use isotope D stupid.
Crank the mix 100.
Yeah, the dry wet knob
my
is just
God,
like
yeah.
is actually your sense of humor. It's just like it's a
So
filter.
it's so dry. Yeah.
That's great. On a more serious note, what are you most proud of?
Honestly, I'm just gonna speak on music terms, I guess, because there's a lot of things that people would get mad at me if I didn't include. But musically, I'm super proud of what we've been able to create from absolutely nothing and touched as many people as we have. The amount of people that reach out to us and tell us how much the music means to them is obviously, super overwhelming in a great way. Like, I love it. It means the world to me. So
Yeah, I
that's- I'm super proud of that.
I think we're proud of the same exact thing. Just this moment, how things are going, and it's been a journey, dude.
That's great. And what's important to you guys?
I just want to try to like keep things as simple as possible, but just keep it family, music, and chill vibes.
Nice. Get that
Specifically
on
the
a shirt.
playlist. Specifically
Yeah.
the playlist.
I was just gonna say. I was just gonna say the
no.
playlist.
I mean, maybe, but no, just like family. Obviously, music is everything.
Music.
Yeah, for sure. And
Music is the most important thing in our life.
Yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
all of us can agree with that, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean that and Fiji water, evidently.
And
Yeah.
that, and
I mean, if we're gonna be honest, I could be alone on an island with just that and be okay.
And lastly, what are you guys looking forward to?
concerts.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
just played the
True.
show before everything got shut down, and it was such a high, and it was so much fun. And a huge part of everything we're trying to do is the live element, and as I'm sure a lot of musicians can agree, but ready for shows ASAP. I feel like when that first moment comes, like the energy in the show is gonna be like people haven't seen live shows in months. Like it's gonna be different. I feel like it's gonna be different in a cool way. Like you appreciate it more, you know, even if you're
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like we were all, in a sense, getting a little bit like burnt out from like going to shows, because for us, so much of like how you meet new people and just connect is by going out to shows. And so it kind of just turned into like a little bit of a slog. There's 2 shows, 3 shows you could go to every week. I know I was definitely getting like tired of going to shows. And now I'm like, wow, I really didn't know what I got till it's gone. Like, I am not fucking networking. I am not talking to nobody. When I go to next time I go to a show, I am dancing. I am singing.
Yes,
I am dancing.
that's
Yes,
beautiful.
sir.
That's beautifully
And the first
said.
show will be the Fiji show.
110%.
Oh my goodness.
No, but guys, thank you so much for doing this with us. Like it is
thank
awesome
you
to catch
for
up with
having
you
us.
guys.
Great experience.
And I love your music. I'm legitimately a Fiji Blue fan, and I'm excited to see what comes next from you guys, because everything has resonated both with a broad audience as well as with us. So you guys are on to something special, and from one duo to a next, you know, absolutely crushing it.
Yeah, it
Appreciate you, man.
Means so much, dude.
Can only give that back to you guys.
Yeah, we're huge Sleeping Lion fans. It goes both ways. So
That means
really
the
appreciate
world.
you guys having us on here.
I should've told you that I loved you every night. Oh, that's on my mind. I should've told you that I loved you one more time, one more time.
We would like to thank Alan C. for supporting Talking Lion on Patreon and Isotope.